So, all this political stuff that's happening, all of this is just to wake you up. So, what happens if you're already awake? That's why through all of this, Trump 2.0, I've been completely calm and unfazed because I have been politically awake since the 90s. Punk rock and gangster rap raised me. I have been awake. I have been aware. I have been in the fight. Nothing that's happening is any surprise to me at all whatsoever. Many people out there right now who are panicking and afraid, this is the first they're becoming aware of how messed up the United States government is. Yeah. And how far reaching our racism is. Yeah. And how deeply misogynistic and oppressive all these systems are. They're just realizing it. And they're not having like a gentle, slow awakening of like one little thing that causes a questioning. This is a full-blown, holy shit, it's all on fire kind of awakening. And the reason that's so traumatic is not only because there's nowhere safe in the government to land right now while it's all on fire, but when you awaken one area, that little thread starts to get pulled through other areas. And you start to question other systems, family systems, religion, society, education, healthcare, corporate America. Every little thread starts to get pulled. Because guess what? They're all the same system. That's what we mean when we say the matrix. We're in the matrix, the third dimensional reality. It's that old, oppressive, capitalist society. So if you're awake and aware, if you've been aware of how all this stuff has been running, you are not surprised. Not at all. Some of you have been awake and aware about all this stuff, but there was hope that we could fix it, or that someone else would step in and maybe it would go away, or that maybe it really wasn't as bad as we thought it was, or, any other excuse. I don't want to say excuse. I want to say reasoning or logic or hope. And it feels like all those hopes have been dashed. So that's a rude awakening for that group of folks. And that's why spiritually aware people are the most prepared for this. Because people who are spiritually aware and have been through a spiritual awakening, we know how rough it is. When your whole reality crumbles and how you thought the world works, gone. Who you thought you were, your place in the universe, gone, imploded. Nothing is real. Who am I? That's because, guys, awakening was never meant to be peaceful. Awakening is traumatic, even and especially a spiritual awakening. And I could tell you story after story after story of my dozen some odd years through my spiritual awakening journey. And how many years of those journey I was just a freaking hot mess as my reality and my world crumbled around me. That is the awakening. Spiritual awakenings are not soft and gentle. Any kind of awakening, not soft and gentle. It is fire. And that doesn't mean we're not going to make it. Doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It doesn't mean we've gone off the deep end or we're in the upside down. No, we're just in a cultural awakening. Historically, you could look at any society that had to reckon with itself, with the truth of who it really is, with its shadows. When the new forces, the newly awakened people say, we're not doing it the way we did it before. We're done with that shit. This is just how it works. This is how humans do it. And we're doing it. So, if you are awake and aware during this time, you don't have to stay in that state of trauma, woe is me, fight, flight, freeze. Once you're awake, once you're aware, once you've been flung out of your complacency, you're up. And how you navigate the rest of your journey is up to you. You can stay in the chaos. You can keep running back in the burning building to help others. You can stay in shock and disbelief and depression, and there is no shame in that. There are many times during our dark nights of the soul where it takes a long time to get back up. That is normal. But there's also an opportunity to get up and get running and to say, okay, well, now that I see it, now that I know it's there, I don't have to sit here and keep playing in that sandbox. I can expand. And I can say, all right, I'm not in that system anymore. What comes next? And we get curious about what else is out there. What's already out there? What else can I dabble in? And then once we kind of play around and explore, visit different communities, check out different systems and different ideas, we can then add our voice. What do I want to see? What do I want to create? How do I want to experience my new reality? I'm not in that system anymore. So what's next? this is where that journey gets really good and really exciting, because there is an endless array of options for you. Once you are out of the culturally agreed upon system, you get into the fringe, and it's so awesome. As someone who's been a fringe dweller for decades, it is awesome out here. You get to find your people, and that's because you get to be yourself. You're out of the system that forced you to be like other people. You get to be your authentic self, and you get to keep redefining your authentic self. Who are you now that you're no longer in the system? Who do you want to become? This journey to fresh authenticity, it is the stuff life is made of. Now, all this bodes really well for us awakening together as a culture, because as we explore these fringe communities, we get to say, hey, you know what? Our mainstream culture is kind of falling apart. So what's happening out in these other communities that then we can adopt widespread? Spirit has been saying that for months, that there's already systems out there and groups out there, ideas, communities, ways of running things are already out there. And so once things can continue to crumble on the mainstream, we can adopt more of those things that already exist, that have been working on smaller scale societies, and we can start to adopt them widespread, because the path has been cleared. It's all been raised and bulldozed. We now have room to build. So as rough as awakening is, that is how expansive and joy-filled the post-awakening can be. It's still part of that same journey, part of that same continuum. But once you're stabilized, and once you're like, okay, I got this. I'm a little shaky, but I got this. Let's see what else is out there. Oh, this is when it gets so good. So all this talk I've been doing about crossing the bridge that came through in my session on Sunday, I'm going to keep talking about it, because this feels so exciting. This mass invitation to cross the bridge and see what else is out there. This is like the reconstruction, the rebuilding, in harmony with our personal expansion and our cultural redefinition. Because as we cross that bridge and we go start looking for solutions, things that are working, groups and societies that feel more natural and authentic to us, that's when we get stronger as a society to help people who are still in the burning building. We're not just simply dragging them out to safety. We're saying, hey, come sit with us. Come rest with us. We have new things that can help you, that can protect you, that we can work on together as a new community. And I know we're still waiting for that orange ding-dong to fall out of his castle. I know. But we don't have to wait for that to happen to start doing the other good stuff. None of these things happen in a silo, either or binary. Everything is happening, and both can happen at the same time. So now you get to choose how you explore your path ahead.